Video games. We all know what they are, and the chances we played them are pretty high. So why then do people believe the negative media surrounding the subject? Welcome to Gameology, a documentary aimed at showing you the positive side of video games.
Video games started gaining traction in 1972 with the release of Pong, a game developed by Atari and originally released in arcades. Pong, as we all remember, was a very simple 2D tennis game, with paddles moving vertically and a ball moving on a 2D axis. Following the huge success of the household release of Pong in 1975, it was inevitable that companies would produce their own versions of this game, clones if you will, in an attempt to undermine or piggyback off the success of the original. These clones were often sold at a lower price than the original, as well as to attract people who didn't want to pay the full price.
My name is Simon Patterson, also known to the YouTube as Shadowstorm Ryo. I had a passion for games when I was a kid, and I've loved playing them and everything. And I started watching YouTube and watching other YouTubers, and then watching a certain YouTuber in particular. I watched how he was basically the same as me with no confidence and how he grew. I decided I wanted to do that as well, and I started to do it for fun. I'm not really out there for the money of it. I'm doing it because I enjoy it.
In 1983, household video games had become much more refined with the beginning of the 8-bit era. Nintendo started their reign of household video games later, here with the early release of the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES. This new generation vastly improved what we had been playing in our homes, with the addition of the D-pads to replace joysticks. We also saw a new capability of larger sprites and a higher resolution display. All of this, however, seems so very underdeveloped compared to what we have today. Nintendo followed the NES with this SNES, or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, if you can guess. We once more improved upon the hardware available in the previous generation, doubling the processing power. With the release of the SNES came the days where we could have between 64 and 256 colours on the screen at one time. Oh, and stereo audio as well. Once again, Nintendo had complete control over this generation, outselling the Mega Drive, as if it was nothing. Unfortunately, however, Nintendo took a bit of a dive within Nintendo 64, dropping late into the next generation of consoles. Nintendo showed up to the party, proving once again the most powerful consoles of the era, sporting the 64-bit processor and really impressive 3D capabilities.
I think they affect my everyday life on a very big scale. Honestly, I don't know what type of person I would be today without video games. Video games have influenced me and taught me a lot more than school probably has, much as I don't want to admit that. But no, they affect me in a very big way. The good and bad points is the good things, there is a lot to learn from video games, especially the anime styled ones in the sense, because they kind of teach you a lot of life and about friends and that. There's a lot of other things to learn as well, like a lot of my general life skills I got through video games. So there's a lot of good points to them, but the downside is the reputation they give. For example, one franchise in particular, Call of Duty, everyone tends to play that. And it's just showing shooting everywhere and you've got little kids playing it, which is not exactly the best influence for a little child.
Continuing through 3D gaming into the 128-bit era, we saw the release of the GameCube and the PlayStation 2. This was also the generation in which Microsoft made their interest in household gaming known with their Xbox, which spearheaded online gaming. This was the generation that really defined 3D gaming. We also moved back to joysticks. However, they were introduced to analog controls rather than the limited 4 to 8 direction joysticks that we all know. This generation also introduced online gaming with Xbox Live. PlayStation 2 and GameCube also had their own online capabilities as well, but they weren't as popular as Xbox Live. Microsoft knew that they were onto something huge, took over Xbox entirely, and began developing Xbox Live into the incredible service that we know today. In 2006, we saw the release of what we call the current generation consoles, including the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, and of course, the Nintendo Wii. With the release of the Xbox 360, ultimately became the large network of Xbox Live to accommodate the influx of new users. We also saw Sony's competing service, the PlayStation Network, or PSN.
Well, from my experiences, the good points of video games, especially the online aspect, is it's a great way to build confidence and kind of meet new friends. For example, I've got friends all over the world from video games, whether it be League of Legends or Xbox or anything like that. So I mean, making new friends, it's a really great way of doing that. Bad aspects, I'm not really sure. Like, it's really easy to lose track of time sometimes, depending on what game you're playing. So that could be a big thing, I guess. I would say video games have a strong positive contribution to the world, because it's a gigantic social platform that people can meet friends on, just have fun with. Obviously there are negative sides to it, I guess, like the whole people getting somebody's address via video games and then sending a SWAT team to the house, stuff like that. But that happens so rarely and nothing ever comes of it anyway. So I would say it's got a strong positive influence, yeah. Just because there's a lot you can learn from video games that outweighs the negatives, in my opinion.
One of the biggest social aspects of video games outside of online gaming is electronic sports, or eSports for short. Essentially just video games in a competitive environment. eSports actually began in '72 with Stanford University's Space War competition, which was a small student-run competition. In '81, however, Atari hosted a Space Invaders Championship, attracting over 10,000 participants across the USA, and this is the event which really popularised esports and gaming competitions.
Along with events being hosted at venues throughout the world, they were also streamlined over the internet, and most large events consistently have online viewer accounts of over 150,000. Proving the popularity of esports, the social events known across the world known as barcrafts, which is essentially a video game version of going to the pub and watching a football match. Instead of putting on the football, the owner of the bar hooks up the PC screens to show these events. Generally, these are based around StarCraft, hence the name. But they are popping up with other games as well. These often happen for large events such as DreamHack or Extreme Masters even, because they are so very well organised and supportive for the community. So now you've seen the positive effects video games can have on people. We hope you are able to come to your own decision on how you think they truly impact the world, whether it be negatively or positively. Thank you for watching Gameology.
When it's my time to go, you'll find nothing in my wallet. Call it what you want, I don't care, it's my life. I'm aware what I'm doing, cause I'm living it right. Living it right, wonderful like Oz. I'm a happy camper like a toddler playing COD. Screaming in the headset, swear to God I'll drop a bomb. Then in the same breath, swears to God I'll bang my mom. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. These kids nowadays are on the wrong path and running into a Banksy tagged wall with the rat it says because